All right, so what we're going to be looking at today is we're going to be looking at half-life, okay, and how to calculate half-life. So half-life is simply how long does it take half of the element to decay, all right? So most of the time, I'm not going to say all the time, most of the time you're going to be dividing by 2. All right, so let's take this first example. It says an element has a half-life of 4 days. So this is my half-life. My question is how much of the element will remain after 20 days if the initial amount is 6. Okay, and that's 6 grams. So here's the very first thing you need to do. Notice that you've got 20 days and you know that that has a half-life of 4 days. My first tip for you is anytime you see 2 times, divide them. So I've got 20 days divided by 4, which gives me 5 half-lives. Okay? So it says how much of the element will remain if I had an initial amount of 6 grams. So you know that in 20 days it went through 5 half-lives because every 4 days is 1 half-life. So that means it went through a total of 5. So you're going to take 6 and you're going to divide it in half 5 times. Okay. Now some of these you're going to find that you're going to get really small decimal numbers. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to do it one more time. And this is going to give me 0.1875 grams. So at the end of 20 days, that's how much I'm going to have left. Okay, so here's what we did. I was given a half-life of 4 days. I went through 20 days. So 20 divided by 4 is how I got this 5 half-lives. The next thing is I knew that I had 6 grams. They want to know how much is left. So if I know I've gone through 5 half-lives, I'm going to divide that in half 5 times, and that's where I get this number here. All right, let's look at the next one. So this one is asking you for something different. It says the half-life of an element is 50 years. How many half-lives will it take 20 grams to be reduced to 2.5 grams? So here's what you know is that my half-life is 50 years. You know that you're wanting, here's your question, how many half-lives will it take? All right, you've got 20, you're starting out with 20, and you're trying to get to 2.5. So divide that in half until you get there. Okay, and so look at how many times this happened. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to take me 3 half-lives because it tells me what I've started with, where my ending point is. And remember, a half-life is dividing by 2. Okay, so that's how I know I want to see this is where I start, this is where I end. And I had to divide it 3 times to get there. So that's the total half-lives that I have. Okay, here's the next one. It says that after 21 days, I've got after 21 days, a 3-gram sample of the element contains 0.375 grams of an isotope. What is the half-life of the element? Okay, so that's kind of like what we just did. You know you've got 3 grams, okay, and you've got this left, 0.375. All right, so when you have a problem like this where you've got 2 masses, you're basically seeing how long does it take me to get here. Remember, we always divide by 2. Okay. And that's going to equal that. So look at what I did. I went through 1, 2, 3 half-lives. Okay? So, but now it's asking me, sorry, I missed this. It says, what is the half-life? Okay, that's my actual question. I went through 3 half-lives. So here's how you figure out the actual half-life. This whole process, this decay process took 21 days, which is 3 half-lives. So divide 21 by 3. The half-life of this particular element is 7 days. Okay, so once again, and that was my fault. I was looking at the problem wrong. It says, what is the half-life of the element? So we first figured out how many half-lives we got. Then we took our days that it took to do this. So 21 days, we went through 3 half-lives. That will let me know what my actual half-life of the element is. Okay, so I'm going to erase some of this so we can see the next problem. All right. So here's my next one. It says the half-life of zinc 71 is 2.4 minutes. If one had 100 grams at the beginning, how many grams would be left at 7.2? So here again, this is the half-life. This is how much time has already taken place. So divide it. And that lets you know how many times you've got to divide. So 7.2 divided by 2.4, I need to divide this thing in half 3 times. Okay, so 100 divided by 2, divided by 2. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I've got 12.5 grams left. Okay, so that's how you end up. That's how we solve half-life problems. So sometimes you're going to be given, like in this one, you're going to be given times. All you got to do is divide up the times to figure out how many half-lives you got. So here's what I want you to do. Try and do these 2 on your own. So pause the video, and then I'm going to show you my work so you can see what it would be. Okay, so now that you've done those 2, check your work. I got 1.25 grams, and then I got 0.0625 grams for those 2.